Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to walk you through the SQL queries to run exploratory data analysis about the data. The data that we are going to work today is about the accidents, and we want to use Microsoft SQL Server to run some SQL queries to have better insight and have better image about the data. During this project, I tried to use some challenging and some more complex queries instead of using regular and simple queries. So let's see the data. We have two CSVs. One of them, let me to increase the width of column. One of them is about the accidents. You can see we have the primary key is the accident index. We have the severity, for example, whether the accident was very fatal or slight or moderate. What date that accident happened, in which day of the week, what was the speed limit, and what about the light condition? For example, when the accident happened, the day was light or it was darkness. What about the weather condition and the road condition, and where the accident happened? For example, it was in urban or it was in a rural area. It was just the data about the accident. Overall, for accidents, we have 500,000. So let's look at the data about the vehicle. So it is a data about the vehicle, and I prefer to separate the data. For example, I want to have two type of CSVs. One of them was for accident and one of them is for vehicle. As well as that, we have the foreign key, the accident index. We have the vehicle line as a primary key. We have the vehicle type. For example, it was the car, truck, pedal, or so on. What was the point of impact in the accident? For example, it was an upside, front, back, near side of the car, or so. The next variable is whether the driver was left hand or it was the right hand. And what was the journey purpose? For example, they went to go to work, they come back to home, or taking pupil to school or something like that. But what about the propulsion? The propulsion is the type of fuel consumption. For example, it was a petrol, gas, heavy oil, or even undefined. And the last variable is about the age of vehicle. For example, it is new brand, it is moderate, or it is very old. However, in this variable, we have some null values, and during some running SQL queries, we have to pay attention to that. So we can jump to Microsoft SQL Server to begin the project. So it is my SQL Server Management Studio, and I defined 8 questions, and we are going to answer step by step. For answering these questions, I try to have business insight and some real sense, instead of just saying what is the average, for example, the age of vehicle, what is the most impact on a severity or something like that. I just wanted to have answer some real question, the questions that help us to have better insight about the data, not just doing some statistical or mathematical queries. So before anything, I create a schema or a database, and I called it as a vehicle accident. It is just abbreviation. If you see, it is a very weird name. By the way, I just have accident, vehicle accident. Then I import CSV file in my database. If you don't know how you can import CSV file, you can search on the internet. It is very easy. You just need to right click, go to task, and do all steps in import flat file process. I defined two tables. One of them is for accident, one of them was for vehicle. And now we want to answer these 8 questions. Without further ado, let's jump to the project. Before do anything, let's have the new queries to have better view about the data. I want to say use a vehicle, and after that I want to select everything from accident, and then I want to select everything from vehicle. Why I did that? Because I want to have both tables and have better image about the variables and their column. Okay, let's go to the first question. The first question is asking how many accidents have occurred in urban areas versus rural areas. This question is asking exactly about this variable, and we want to see how many accidents we have in urban and how many accidents we have in rural areas. We go here and I want to write select from, but I want to select areas here, and let's decrease the size and put it here. Okay, the from is this table, but I just want to count the total accident because I want to see how many accidents we have in urban and how many accidents I have in a rural area. So I just need to write the count. I want to count the accident index here, and I want to call it as aliens, for example, the total accident. And then since I have the count function here, I want to group the data based on the areas. So it is my queries. I want to analyze it again. So I just call it area to have the variables. Then I count the accident, I count the total number of the accidents. I use the aliens and I call it as a total accident. Both this variable come from this table, and I want to group the data based on the area, urban or rural area. I just execute it. Let's execute it here. Yeah, I just execute it, and you can see it is the data. We have 58,533 accidents in urban area, whereas in contrast, we have 21,999 accidents in rural areas. Let's jump to the question 2. The question 2 is asking which day of the week has the highest number of accidents. For example, do we have the highest number in Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or so on? So I just came back here and I want to run my queries here to have better image about the variable here. So I want to write again select, and from since I want to answer the question based on the number of the accident and day of the week, I just need to this column and this column. So both variables come from the accident, but which variable I need? I need the day here, and I'm going to count the number of accidents based on the day. So I just again the count, and I want to use the accidents, and I call it as again the total accidents. So since we use the count function or aggregation function, I want to use the group by based on the day, and I want to, let's see the data so far. I came back here, question 2. Let's see the data. It is the total accident per day, but the question is asking the highest number. So I just want to order by, and I want to order by based on the total accidents. I call it here, and it should be descending because I want to have the highest number at the top, and I call it, you can see we have the highest number of accidents on Friday. After that we have Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and so on. Let's jump to question 3. What is the average age of vehicle involved in accident based on their type? This question is a little bit challenging, but we can answer this question. For answering this question, we want to use all data come from the vehicle because we want to see the vehicle type, we want to see the accident index, and age of vehicle. So first of all, I select the data from, all data come from vehicle, but which column we need? In the first, I need the vehicle type. I go to vehicle database, and the vehicle type is here. And after that, we want to answer this question, the total number of accidents, because we want to see, first of all, we want to see the total number of accidents. So I just count, again the count index, and I call it as the total accidents. And the next one, I just forget it here, and the next one is the average age of vehicle. So I just called average function, and it is age of vehicle. I call it here. So, and it is the data, but we can improve it. Just because if you remember, in age vehicle, you can see we have some null values. So we want to add a filter. So I call it var function, and I say compute this function just in case that age of vehicle is not null, and then this data should be grouped by based on the vehicle type. Exactly, the question asks this, based on the type, based on group by, based on the type. And I want to order the data based on the total accidents, and I want to have a total accident descending. Yes, it is the data. The vehicle type, the count of accident, the average age, all of them come from the vehicle. And it is our filter because we don't want to use the null value. We group the data and we sort based on the total accidents. I put it here and we can see the answer. For example, the car type, the total accident was 137,379, and it is just, I forget it. It is for example, the average year, if I run it again, and the average year for all cars is 8. The average year for all motorcycle 125 cc or under is 6, but the total accident is 6,669. The question 4 is asking, can we identify any trends in accidents based on the age of the vehicle involved? This question, I dare say that this question is the most challenging question, because we want to work on some different variables. So let's jump to the variables you can see here. So we want to work on just vehicle table, because the question is asking, we want to find the trend between the age of the vehicle and the number of the accidents. For answering this question, I want to use the if condition to label the data, and after that I want to analyze the data. Let's answer this question. I want to have a select and I want to have a from, but for the from I want to write this as subquery. After running some queries, you can understand why I wrote subqueries after from as some subqueries. So I explain it more. For select, first of all, I want to select the count of accident index. I want to call it accident index, and I want to call it as total accidents. And in the next, I want to call average age of group, because the question is say if we can identify any trend between the age of the vehicle. So I prefer to write the average. You can write the sum, mean, or whatever you want. I want to put age, average age of vehicle here, and I want to call it as for example, the average year. Just because I want to add another variable next to this, in the first, I want to use subqueries to define the variable, and after that, I can add it here. So, for defining the new variable in the from, I want to use subqueries, and it is just because I write subquery here. I want to select again. I want to have an accident, just because here we have the count of accidents. Again, I want to add the age of vehicle, the age of vehicle here. And now I want to add the case or the if condition. For doing this, I write the case, and I want to say when else, when else, and as. What is the name of the if condition here? For example, I want to say as an age group. It is the name of the new. It is the new variable that we want to define, and it is the name of this. It is the age group. I call it as age group, and I add it here because we want to add a new variable here. So what's going on this variable. So for this variable here, I want to use the if condition. For example, when the age of vehicle is between 0 and 5, then the car is new. However, if the age of vehicle is between 6 and 10, it is regular, otherwise it is old. But we just select the data. We have to say this data should come from which table. They come from the vehicle table, and we define all of them as a subquery. And just because here we are using the aggregation function, so I just want to use the group by the average group. It is all data. Let's analyze it again. First of all, I want to use the count of the accidents, then average of the vehicle, exactly the question is asking this. And after that, I want to have the new variable. And in a subquery like this, I define this average here, and then I put it as a subquery and then group by the data. If I just copy and here, if I run this code, you can see we have, for example, for old car that we defined here, that for example, we have some cars that their age is more than 10. For old cars, the total accident is this number and the average year is 13. For the new brand, we have this number of accidents for new brand car and the average year for them was 2. The question number 5 is asking, are there any specific weather conditions that contribute to the severe accidents? This condition is asking what is the relationship between the severity and the weather condition. So for answering this question, we have just need the data from the accidents table. So first of all, I select, and from both columns come from the accident. And what we should select, we want to select the weather condition, here, and just because we want to have the count of severity for each weather condition, I just want to write the count, and I want to count the severity. So I call it as a total accident. I can run this code, but I want to group the data. Group by weather condition, and I want to order by the total accident here, and just add it here, and it should be descending. Yes, we can run this code and we can see, oh, there is an error. What is, oh, it should be semicolon. Yeah. Here we have the weather condition and we have the total accidents for each weather condition. So it is the total accidents for all severity. We didn't define any severity. For example, I just put all severity. For example, fatal slides, serious, everything is being contained in this column, but I want to define exactly which specific severity I'm going to see the data. For doing this, I wanna have a filter here, for example, where the severity here, the severity should be, for example, whatever. Let me to explain it more. The severity can be slight, fatal, or serious. These weather conditions filter the data, and after that, these filtered data grouped based on the weather condition. But for putting severity, I want to define a variable. I want to define or declare a variable, for example, severity. I'm not sure I write it correctly. I just copy. Yeah, it is my variable. Oops, it is my variable, and then I should define what is its data type. Just because severity is a string, I want to put as a varchar 100. I guess it works. Now I define a variable where I should use it. It is my variable, and instead of writing severity, I just put my variable here. But how can I use this variable? I just call the set, and my severity, for example, is a fatal. So I just put here, I put my severity as a fatal. You can see this is the data for all severity, but I just want to see for fatal. I select all of them and execute. You can see the data changed because the data is just coming from for fatal. For example, what about the serious? Serious is another severity. You can see if I call it, the data changed again. Call it, the data is changed just because we set severity as a fatal. Or what about the slides? And the data is changed. If I don't put anything as a var, if I call, you can see it is the all severity regardless their type. The question number 6 is asking, do accidents often involve impact on the left hand side of the vehicle or not? It is a very easy question. It is just asking about, is there any relationship between the number of the accident and being left hand of the car? So both data, if I call it again, both data, what you can see here, yeah, come from the vehicle data because it is the left hand, it is the total number of the accident. I just write the select, the data come from the vehicle. What I should select, I should select the left hand, and then I want to count the data, count number of the accidents, and it is as total accidents, and I want to group the data based on the left hand or right hand. Just because in a left hand variable we have some null values, I just filter the data just for being left hand or not being left hand. So instead of where, I should put having because I'm going to filter group by, not the original data. So I just call it the left hand is not null. If I call it, you can see it is the data. Amazingly, if the car is not left hand, the number of the accident is much more when the car is a left hand. You know, there is a big difference between them. So it's a good insight about having the left hand car or not having left hand car. The question number 7 is asking, are there any relationship between the journey purpose and the severity of the accident? You know, in this question we want to have two tables and we have to use join function because this question is asking two different variables from two different tables. So I have to go here again. I want to call it to see the data. Okay, I put it here. So first of all, I want to select, and again from first I'm going to work on the accidents. So which variable do I need to have from accidents? I want to have, for example, the severity, because this question is asking about the severity of the accident. For this question, I'm going to use if condition as well. And how can I use this? For example, I want to say if the count of the severity is more or less than a specific number, I want to have a new column. For example, I say yes, just because the number of the severity is higher than this specific number, I can say it is the high, or it is the moderate, low, or something like this. So first of all, I want to add another table. For example, I want to call as a join, and I want to join this data. I've got here. And these two tables are being joined together based on the accident index. So I want to call accident as A and vehicle as a V. So it is V and it is A. So the data from these two tables are joined together. But which variable I want to select from them? First of all, I want to have the journey purpose from the vehicle. So I put journey purpose here. It comes from the V because V is the vehicle. Then I want to have the count of the severity. The severity comes from the accident. I put it here, and A, just because the accident. And I want to call it as, for example, the total accident. What else I need? I want to have another column based on the number of the accidents. And for doing this, I want to use case, and I say when, else, and end as it is the name of the column. For example, as a level, maybe it's good. So I have to say when the count of the severity between 0 and, for example, 1000, then put as a low, and when the count of severity is between 1001 to, for example, 3000, let's say the moderate, else or otherwise put high. So I just check it. It is the count, it is the moderate, it is the else. Yes, we can go through and we can group the data. I want to group the data based on the journey purpose, because the question is asking about the journey purpose. The journey purpose is what here. I just got it here. The journey purpose here. And I want to sort the data order by based on the total accidents, and it should be descending. But one thing is very strange, why I have error here. The count, oh, it's between. Yeah, it's okay. I can copy here and put here. Now I can see the results. Yeah, for example, if the journey purpose is not defined or it is unknown, the total number of the accident is 186,046, and this number, just because this number is more than 3,000, it is categorized based on the high. But for taking people from or to a school, we have these number of the accident, we have this number of the severity or the accident. So just because this number is between 1,000 to 3,000, it is categorized based on the moderate. And in this question, we use the if condition, as well as that we use the join function. Let's answer the last question. I just increased the size. The last question is asking, calculate the average age of vehicle involved in accident, considering daylight and point of impact. So, again, we need to work on two tables, vehicle table and the accident table. But we want to work on some more variables. For example, daylight may be changed or point of impact may be changed. So I want to answer the question by select and from. Just because the first data come from the accident, however, it doesn't matter. I want to put the accident in the first column and I'll call it as A. And this data should be joined with the vehicle, and the vehicle should be V, and they join on an accident index, and it is the accident index. One of them is for A, one of them is for V. So, and what other column I want to put for accidents? Remember the question for accident. This question is about daylight and the age of vehicle. The daylight, just daylight, not age of the vehicle, and the point of impact come from the vehicle table. So for accident, I want to just have a light here. Light condition come from the A, but from vehicle we have to add the point of impact, and The other one is the average age of vehicle, the average age of the vehicle. So I call it as the average age of vehicle. Oops. Age of the vehicle, just because age comes from the vehicle table, I put V, and it is as, for example, the average year, it's the name. So, and just because we use the aggregation function, I want to put the group by, and this data should be group by based on these two columns. Let's see the data so far. It is the data so far. For example, we have daylight. For the missing value, we have daylight for offside, we have daylight for front, we have daylight for near side, we have daylight for did not impact, and as well as that, we have the same data for the darkness. I just want to filter the data in a group. So I want to use having, and I want to put the point of impact. For example, I want to just see the point of impact should be front. Let's see the data. It is just the front. As well as that, I want to see again filter the data based on the light condition. The light condition should be, for example, darkness. If I run this code, I expect to have this record, just because the light condition is darkness and the point of impact is front. Call it, you can see here. So what can I do to have the automotive variable? So I just remove this data and I want to define two variables. One of them is declare, for example, the impact, just the point of the impact, I call it as impact, and it is var_char 100. And the other one is the same, but this is light, for example. And then I want to set the data. For example, the impact should be something, and the light should be something. So I just want to use impact instead of this. I call it impact, and instead of this I want to use the light. So this light, yeah. So for example, I want to write near side as an impact, near side, and in a daylight. If I see this data, let me decrease it here. I want to see just data for the near side and daylight. I want to see the average age of vehicle that have accident in this light and in this point of impact. I call it, you can see this is the average year of vehicles that have this data. For example, I want to change as an offside and the darkness. I call it, you can see the offside and darkness, the average year of vehicle is 7. I cut it here and put it here. So it is the end of the project. We could answer 8 different questions, and we conduct exploratory data analysis for a big database for accidents, and we could run some queries to have better insight and information about the data. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for your watching.